Hi, I'm Maria Nodolf, and this is
George Lowry.
and we're with the Orangevale History Project. Today is Friday, September 22nd, 2023, and we are here to interview Julie Vandervoort Curry of the famous Orangevale Vandervoort family. Julie, what year were you born?
1941.
And what were your parents' names?
My mother's name was Dolores Ramona Hill Vandervoort, and my father is Charles Winston Vandervoort.
And where was your mother born?
Vallejo,
And your dad?
Ohio. As far as I know, because they came from Ohio.
Yes.
So I'm assuming he was born there.
Okay. So, were you born locally?
Sacramento.
You were born in Sacramento?
Sutter Maternity, I think
Okay.
it was. Yeah.
Okay. And so did you live in Orangevale your whole life, or when did you come to Orangevale?
Well, I lived in Orangevale all my life on Greenback Lane.
Uh-huh.
It was 5 acres, and there was a little house on the hill back away from the Greenback Lane. And then my grandparents were in a little house closer, even set back from Greenback Lane.
Mm-hmm.
So I started in that little house. I can remember my mom saying, "Okay, turn off all the lights," because it was during the war,
Ah, yes.
and you were to turn all the lights off.
Yes.
I can remember that.
And what was your nearest cross street? Do you recall?
Our property was between Kenneth and Almond,
Okay. Great.
and one over from that was Illinois, where Sharon Bailey Turner lived.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Julie, we had an interview some time ago with a man named Jim McCall, who is 98 years old, and he remembers going to Roberts Elementary with Jean and Nida.
Nada.
Nada.
N-A-I-D-A.
Nada.
N-I-D-A, I
At
guess.
the original Orangevale.
Yes, I went there too.
You went to Roberts Elementary?
Yes, I did.
Ah.
I started there.
Yeah, so did Bob Lever.
Uh-huh.
Were you in the same class?
No, but Nancy and I
She's
were in the
older.
same class. Well, we were in the same grade, but we were we had separate teachers, didn't we?
Who are you talking about?
First grade
Okay.
in Robert's school.
Okay. But you were talking about Bob Lever?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's older, isn't he?
Yeah, he was 2 years older.
Okay. All right. So, so after Roberts burned down, you moved over to the Orangevale Elementary.
Well, actually, we moved out of town.
Oh.
My dad came home from the war.
Uh-huh.
I can remember my mom was on top of the car, washing the car, and a yellow car pulled up. I've never seen a bright yellow car. It was a taxi, and my dad got out, and she went, "Oh my God, there's your father. Run down and meet him." And I thought, my father? Because I hadn't seen him for so long. I guess I kind of forgot about him. I don't know. And I went running down the hill, and oh my gosh, I choke up every time I think about it. He picked me up and swung me around.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Ugh.
that's lovely.
So I remember
Yes.
he came in, and we had this big family meeting. I hardly remember what went on, but he decided to move. And so we moved to our arcade area, and I went to arcade school.
Mm-hmm.
After 2 or 3 months at Roberts School, it was a really hard adjustment to go to a great big school, great big bus, lots of kids at the bus stop, It was really very, very hard. I was thrilled when we came back and I could go to Orangevale School.
And when was that?
I came back for, was it the 3rd grade, Nancy? Yeah, 1st and 2nd there, and then I had the 3rd grade at Orangevale School, which was wonderful because, Nancy was there and her mom's cooking all the wonderful food, and Sharon's there and people I knew.
Nancy, could you speak up and introduce yourself?
I'm Nancy Myron, maiden name Pierce, and my mom Julie's aunt. She used to. She was a cook at the Orangeville School,
Okay.
and so that's what she's talking
All
about.
right. Okay. So you are cousins.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so you got to get back to Orangevale School, and how was that?
Well, it was wonderful because I knew people, and it was another adjustment, of course, but it was wonderful that it was close and it was Orangevale, and there's a whole different spirit there, a whole different atmosphere, you know.
Now I forgot what I was going to ask. Something about school. I don't remember. So you came back in what grade?
Third grade.
Third grade. Okay, so you only spent a while in at Arcade Elementary.
2 years.
2 years. Okay.
We were in a track home.
Okay. So when you moved back, did you move back to your property where your grandparents were?
We did, but we lived in a tent for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. And Nancy's father, who was a carpenter, came over and helped my dad, and we took the little house that my grandparents lived in, and he expanded it and made it a very big house. So we had 4 bedrooms and a very large living room and a beautiful patio that comes out in front of the house, and then a big lawn. So we spent a lot of time out on the patio, you know. It was very nice.
Is the house still standing?
It is.
Oh, good.
Someone bought it
Uh-huh.
and taking really good care of it.
Do you remember the so it's on Greenback?
Hmm.
Do you remember the house number?
I think it was 8580.
8580
Or 8580.
Greenback.
85 or 8580 or 8085, something like that.
That's it. It's okay. So what are
It's still there.
what are your memories of going to school in Orangevale?
Well, let's see. I had a wonderful teacher that taught our parents, and she was Mrs. Kirsten. She was wonderful. And she stayed 2 years. She got attached to us. We were attached to her. So she asked to have another year with us, so we actually had 2 years with her. And we were the last of the class of people who knew you know, everyone in Orangevale. Our parents knew everyone, and the teachers had our parents, and then Aerojet came in, and so there was a lot of new people came in, which was fun too, you know, and that's how Chuck found his wife, right? Chuck Carr, Nancy.
Oh,
Nancy came when she was like 5th grade, I think.
I'm not sure. Could
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
And Chuck Carr was a schoolmate?
Yes.
Is it Carr?
Yeah.
Okay. Is he still around?
No, he passed away. His wife is still here.
Is she in Orangevale?
No, but she's up in
Rescue.
Pilot Hill Rescue.
Okay.
Rescue area. I think it's rescue area.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Nancy
Nancy.
Carr, and he had a brother named Roy Carr, and they were both in the same grade. I don't know which one was the oldest.
I think Roy was the oldest.
Roy was older, and he married Bobby Lever's cousin,
Oh.
Linda Richards,
Yes.
and they moved up to Washington.
Cousin.
They live there now.
Wow. So Aerojet changed because you had a lot more people come in, but you said it was still nice.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
Did
More of them came when I think we got into high school, because
Okay.
by the time we graduated, it was much larger.
It's lovely that you mentioned Mrs. Kirsten, because that's a teacher that Jim Call also spoke very fondly of.
Oh yes, I'm sure. Well, my Aunt Nada just had her 100th birthday,
Ah,
and we went down to celebrate it with her. Nancy and I and Liz. No, Liz
No,
couldn't
she
come.
didn't come this
But Liz has come before. She lives in Petaluma.
and who's Liz?
My daughter. She lives here.
Oh, the one who lives here. Okay, the teacher.
Yes.
Okay.
And Nada has a daughter named Jessica, and she lives in Petaluma. And she is something else. She's a very special person. She takes such great care of her mom.
So they live in Petaluma.
Yeah.
That's
But
a beautiful place.
she reminds me a lot of my son that I was talking about this morning. She's very active and very on top of things and very creative and watches her mom, and she just does a great job.
How do you spell Nada?
Nadia, Nancy? Nada. Nadia.
N-A,
Nadia.
N-A-D-I-A, I
Yeah.
think.
Nadia.
Yeah, it
All of
could be,
yeah.
but she
All
says,
they call her Nada.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's her choice, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Someone said that, and she said, well, I never thought of that. I was just named Nada. But Nada's a lovely person, too. I mean, I thought she was in assisted living. She lives in a place where they have assisted living. But she's on one side that's just senior living apartment. She's never gone into assisted living. She plays bridge every day. She plays other games every day. I mean, we tell her, you're setting the bar high for us.
I'll say.
It's
I'll
wonderful
say.
to go visit her. It really is. She's great.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Well, the thing that Mrs. Curson did for me is she came over to me and she said, now, Julie, at lunchtime, just before lunch, I want to take you down and have you meet someone. I said, oh, okay. Like, oh, who's that going to be? I was surprised. She said, I want you to meet the choir director. And so she took me down there. She started everything. She said, and you should have heard the way she presented me to the choir director. It was so sweet. She said, now, I know Julie's father, and he sings, and Julie has a very nice voice. And I wonder if you could take anyone, if you need some more sopranos or altos in your choir. And he goes, okay, come over here. And hits a note. Can you hit that note? Yes. Can you hit this note? Yes. Yes. Okay. You're in the choir.
Fabulous audition.
And so, let's see, that was, what would that be, 5th grade, Nancy? Yeah, 5th, I think. So in the 6th grade, he comes to me and says, Julie, I'd like you to sing for the Christmas program this year, I'd like you to sing Silent Night, 3rd verse, as a solo. I was, as a solo? Oh, doesn't any of the 7th and 8th graders want to do the solo? And he said, no, they're afraid. And I thought, oh, gulp. And I'm nervy and going to do it, But I did. And I sang the 3rd verse to Silent Night, which is a beautiful verse. And so the next day, you know how boys tease girls. They went around going, Silent Night. Because I was told to pronounce the silent, so I guess I did a little too much. I don't know. They were just teasing me. But it was a great start of my career, and the next thing I did was sing Bless This House when I was 11 or 12 at the Methodist Church, which my mom took me to. But when my dad sang in that church, he would sing the Lord's Prayer or Bless This House or You'll Never Walk Alone. It would give you chills. And I know that Bobby would probably tell you that, and Nancy too.
Oh.
He was a great singer.
And then she came along.
So music was everything to me. When I was in high school, I was in the music department all the time. Nancy and you and Sharon were doing the athletics, right?
Oh, sports.
Sports.
And you were singing.
I was singing everything.
So you're talking about going to San Juan.
Mm-hmm.
So how was your experience there?
Well, let's see. I was lucky to go to such a wonderful place, and the thing that our music department did was put on a musical every year. and a wonderful Christmas program, and then a spring program. It was great to learn all that music, you know. The choir was, every place we went in choir, you know, if you were at my house, I'd play you. You'd be surprised at how great we sang.
Mhm.
And we would get outstanding reviews. We went all over in our little bus down to Berkeley and down south somewhere, one of the schools. Gosh, I'm trying to remember every place we went. Lots of places in the Bay Area. And my freshman year, I was just thrilled because, again, we did Brigadoon, and it's done by a choir. You know, it's a mystical show, so they had this beautiful choir singing the theme song, Brigadoon. And they did it in many places, but my teacher came to me, the music teacher, and said, I'd like you to stand over here in the corner. There's going to be a dark stage. The curtain will be pulled, and we'll put a spot on you. I want you to sing it as a solo. So I sang Brigadoon as a solo as a freshman. I was thrilled,
Mhm.
just thrilled. You know, I was so nervy. I don't know what made me so nervy, because when I got older, I kept singing, and I was scared to death when I got older. You know, you realize what you're doing before.
But as a freshman, you were okay. Wow. So your high school was mostly singing. Did you have to work? Did you have a job?
No,
You didn't pick fruit like every or
not like my mom.
or pack fruit like every other kid in in Orangeville.
No, I didn't.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you know, I did work in my dad's office, my stepdad's office, in the summer, and that was a wonderful experience.
Where was that?
Oh, in between my junior and senior year, I guess.
And was that in Orangevale?
Yeah, right smack dab in Orangeville.
What business was it?
Well, he had a medical building,
Uh-huh.
a very small medical building,
Uh-huh.
but he did everything. You know, like he took x-rays there, he did the blood draws, and you could get a complete blood, like a lab.
Uh-huh.
And the person that worked there was Lois Bleckschmidt, who her daughter went to San Juan. So we knew the family really well, and Bobby Bleckschmidt. And I learned a lot from her, you know, just a lot of basic stuff. And it was wonderful because, do you remember Linda Geiler in our class?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Her father came in one day, and he said, well, I want to see Dr. Granstead. And I said, well, I'm so sorry, you have to make an appointment. You know, we have people waiting here. He goes, oh, well, I was just told if I wanted to find out what's really wrong with me, I've been to a lot of doctors, to come and see him. And I said, well, just a minute. And so I went and I said, oh, you know, this man wants to see you, and he doesn't have an appointment. And he says, what's his condition? He says it's his heart. He said, of course we'll see him right now. And I said, oh, okay. So later, you know, my dad was really good. My stepdad was really good at diagnosing. And he really helped him a lot. And so later, you know, my friend who I went to school with, we were in the same grade, came up to me and said, oh, I'm so grateful. You know, my dad's so well now.
Oh,
You know, it was wonderful to experience that,
yes.
you know, and
Yeah.
and learn how to deal with people when they come in. And, you know, didn't know how to do any of that, but then Nancy took over. And Nancy
I
was
didn't
his...
take anything over.
Yes, you did. You were the right-hand man.
No, I didn't work with him until I was up on Main.
To win?
Till his office was on Main Avenue.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So his office was on Main. Where was it when you worked there?
right across from the Orangeville Clubhouse that isn't there anymore.
Okay.
Across from what's called Cable Center now.
Yes.
Oh, well, I think I told you this before, but Nancy and I took dance there.
At the clubhouse.
At the clubhouse.
And was that who gave the lessons?
Jer Curry.
Okay.
Who she ended up marrying.
Yes.
Well, you know, it's very interesting how that all happened. Do you want to hear?
Sure.
Well, he was worried that I didn't have a way home, so he would take me home in his very English MG, red MG, and drop me off. And he was always worried because the house was just below the hill. Kenneth was where the hill was, and he'd wait and make sure that I crossed all right. So I never saw him again, really. And when I went to San Juan, we had the most beautiful ballet dancer. Remember Julie Woodville? She was on toe. She was just a gorgeous dancer. And I said, where did you get your training? I mean, she's on toe. She can do anything. She looks great, you know. And she said, oh, Jer Curry. I said, oh, Jer Curry? Oh, he won't remember me, but tell him hi. And so she came back later. He remembers you. He says hi. And so from then on, and Don Stonsvik took from him, and his sister Sherry took from him, and they all said, oh, Jer says hi. And so I heard that all through high school and college, and then I think he left. He was performing in Texas as a dancer and choreographer, and he came back, and let's see, how did that go? Oh, I was doing a play. When I went to Sacramento State, I went into drama and was in a lot of plays, and it was at the Harlequin Theater downtown, and it's an L shape like this, and it's only 3 rows. It's what you call intimate theater, and I was doing Look Back in Anger by John Osborne. I don't know if you know that play, but it's very wordy, and it's about a very young, angry man, and he treats his wife terrible, and Chuck came to see it, and he said, Julie, I just wanted to punch that man. I saw him afterwards. It was really funny. It's very dramatic, you know. So there's only 2 women in the show. There's 5 in the cast, and one of the women said, I'm trying to see if my dance teacher will come and see the play. You know, I'm taking dance. I said, oh, good for you. Who's your dance teacher? She said, Jer Curry. I said, oh, tell him hello. I said, we've been doing this for years. Tell him hi. And she came back and she goes, he remembers you, and he's coming. I said, oh, great. So he came, and I had my group. Chuck was there that night with his wife and a lot of my family, so I was talking to them, and then I saw him, and he came over, and he was very warm and nice, and just took my hand and said, what a great job you did. So good to see you, and, you know, my this, my that. Okay, hello, goodbye, you know. And see you. And I turned to see my family, and he brought somebody. He was going out the door. I just kind of turned my head to see him go out the door, and he turned his head and looked at me. So, I don't know, we kept meeting up. We were both judging Sharon's Miss Bronze contest. We showed up as judges, and we showed up someplace else. I think it was a luncheon, and he didn't recognize me because I had a white frou-frou hat on, and he came right up to the head table where I was sitting, and I was starting to say, you know, and he just looked at me, went, and went off, and I thought, well, and he goes, who's that person up there in that white hat? He goes, don't you know who that is? That's Julie Vanderbilt. He goes, oh, and he came running back up, you know. This is just really funny. And then I got my contract for the music circus because I worked there 2 years. And I said, oh, gosh, they got me down as a singer-dancer, and I haven't danced for a while, so maybe I should call Jer Curry and, get, you know, have some dance lessons. So I called him, and he said, oh, yeah, come over. I said, well, when? I need to know what class are you teaching. I haven't danced. You know, you go through all that. I haven't danced for a long time and all that. So I went, and I walked in the door, and there was someone sitting there, and he yelled from the back room, hey, you'll never guess who's coming to class. And she looked at me and goes, who? He says, Julie Vanderbilt, Miss Sacramento. So he walks in, he goes, oh, hi, you know. It was just funny, you know, how loud it went. So I was finishing doing Julie in Carousel. I saw it when I was 6 years old. My parents took me to see that musical at the downtown, you know, Memorial Auditorium. And I thought, someday I'm going to play that part. I just cried all the way out of the auditorium. And then my parents bought me the soundtrack of Oklahoma, Carousel, South Pacific. I memorized the whole thing. I knew them all. So I was doing carousel. I did it for a year at Lisa Shari's dinner theater downtown, and I asked him, I said, well, this is the last night. Do you want to come and see me in the show? And he goes, oh, yeah, get me a couple of tickets. I said, well, okay. So he came, and he came by himself, and we went out for tea, and he took me out. I was very impressed, to a coffee shop, Sacramento Inn coffee shop, for tea and what do you call those things? English muffins. Mm-hmm. So it was very nice,
Mm-hmm.
And I kept taking class, and once in a while we'd go out and have lunch together, and I'd have a cup of tea, and he'd have soup. And then I said, well, I have to go down to the music circus and turn my contract in tonight. He goes, oh, would you like me to go with you? And I, oh, yeah, choreographer, Joe Curry, I wanted to look good in front of Lewis and Young, and so he came down, and I don't know, after that we had tea and English muffins again, and after 3 weeks of that, he drove me to the clubhouse where he first took dance, asked me to marry him.
Oh, that's so nice.
So, yeah, it was. But when you're that young, I said, well, I think we should wait till I'm 21. It was only in a few months. So we waited a year, and then we got married.
So you mentioned that you were Miss Sacramento.
Yeah.
So was that, were you ever in a pageant here in Orangevale?
No, but I ran a pageant here.
Did you?
Yeah, from my house. We moved back. My husband and I moved back. We bought after my father died. My older sister was renting it. So we brought my two sisters out, and we moved back. And my husband went to school at Sierra, and then later went to Sacramento State, got his degree, and then we moved to Davis, and he instantly got a job before he graduated, because he toured for a year during his 20s as a ballet dancer with S. Hurock. I don't know if you know who that is. You're probably too young to know. But he was, what you call him? He was a backer, a financer, or whatever. He was the one that did these tours. And he was the leading ballet dancer to all the Russian ballerinas. They call him the last of the baby ballerinas, Natasha Krasovska and Mia Slavinska, because he was tall. And he was a very good dancer. He trained with the Christiansens in San Francisco. So he had a lot of experience already. He was like a professional, and choreographed many of these places. So they hired him right on the spot before he graduated. So that was kind of nice for him. And so I lived in Davis from then on. We stayed 2 or 3 years in the house, and then moved.
Mm-hmm.
So
do you have any memories that you haven't shared yet about Orangevale? You said you ran a pageant. Do you remember powwow days?
Oh, yeah, I used to sing at them. What else? I met my brother-in-law and cut off jeans and a T-shirt and my hair all in rollers for the first time. My sister brought him home to me, and I met him, and he was very nice. And then I got all dressed up, and I had my hair fixed and wore a nice dress, and went on the little stage we had at powwow days and sang "Someday My Prince Will Come." And then Mary Ann Howard, who lived off of Greenback. Have you talked to her at all?
No.
Okay, she married Larry Schrader, who is Dale Schrader's brother.
Mary Ann Howard
Mm-hmm.
married
Larry Schrader. Oh, and I have to tell you, Dale and I got married in the 6th grade. we had a wedding, and Sharon was one of the bridesmaids. Both Sharons.
Wow, how lovely. Was this at recess, or?
Yeah, I think it was 6th grade, wasn't it, Nancy? It was, yeah.
I don't know when it was.
And Andy played the guitar,
Really?
and he was best man. Andy Keir. There's the Keir family again. I know you
Yes.
talked to them.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
And we had a basketball team that was really good. That's the time I really played hard in sports. And Marianne was on the. Who else was on that team?
Do you talk about high school?
Grammar school.
Oh, okay. Don't know.
We were really good. 7th and 8th grade. Yeah. We won a lot of games. I ran track.
Now I remember the track meets.
Yeah. We went to
Ileton.
Ileton and ran
Yep.
track.
We were good.
I got a Charlie horse. I was thinking I was going to do really well, but I got a Charlie horse in my leg. But, it was a wonderful experience. I mean, how great that Orangeville would do that, And I guess you've heard that we had a reunion of all Orangeville grammar school people.
When was that?
What year was that, Nancy?
It had to have been.
Jer was here.
It had to have been 87
Okay.
because I was just finishing up chemo. Remember we danced? Jer took me out on the dance floor, was whirling me around, and you're going, Jer, don't.
Don't hurt her. When you dance with Jer,
It was- Yeah.
he leads so much. You're just like,
And it was all of the classes and even some of the teachers, and my mom was the cook at the school. It was one of those class reunions that's very rare, and it was huge, and everybody came.
wonderful.
And it never happened again.
It was wonderful. It really was. They all came,
Yeah.
the ones that were here.
And the teachers,
Who came all the way from Texas? Married Linda Geiler's sister,
Mr. Floyd.
Mr. Floyd.
Mr.
Yeah.
Floyd was a teacher?
Yeah, what did he teach?
I don't know what he taught. Was he a teacher?
I thought he was.
I don't know. I'm sure
Yeah, he was. He was a coach, I think.
Yeah. Everybody loved him.
Yeah,
And this
everybody
was
loved him.
at the Orangeville Elementary.
Yes.
Everybody loved him. And he came and he gave the most beautiful talk. He said, I had to come. He said, because this would just be like this class. I knew you'd all do something so wonderful like this, and I wasn't going to miss it. Isn't that nice? He was really great. And he married Linda Geiler's sister, who was very ill, had leukemia. And she went into remission, and he took a chance and married her, and she eventually died. It's really sad, but they were very much in love, and we all adored them. It was very sweet. So what else did we do, Nancy?
We had folk dancing festivals.
We did. We had folk dancing
In
festival.
Orangeville?
Yeah, at
It was
school.
Out on
school.
the basketball courts outside.
Yeah, we had to learn folk dancing. I mean, and then
You
the
don't remember
levers.
that?
Oh yeah, I do.
Oh, okay.
I do. Usually Dale and I were partners.
We also had ballroom dancing classes.
Yes, by Bobby Lever's parents.
Yes. They had them at San Juan High School, didn't they? Didn't they?
No.
Oh,
they
no,
had
it,
them in
it,
Orangeville.
it was at Orangeville Elementary?
Yeah,
Okay.
That was
right there in the multi-purpose room where we eat our lunches.
Carol Lever and her sister, Richard's mother. Oh my gosh.
I can't pull it. I can't bring it.
Anyway, they were sisters, and they
Wiley.
taught ballroom dancing, and I still have 2 trophies.
Well, her
Go back.
husband came too.
Yeah. Huh?
He came too, Roger.
He wasn't a teacher. He didn't teach us ballroom. I don't remember that. Let's put it that way.
Well, he was there.
Oh, okay. Probably.
Yeah.
Bob Lever told us that his parents loved to dance, and that people would come over to their house and dance. And
Uh-huh.
Big party place.
Uh-huh.
Big party place.
Big
Yeah.
party place. And they had this lovely, huge adobe
How would you
home.
describe their house, Nancy? Because it's pretty unique.
It was a very large, roomy adobe home way back.
That's the thing.
woods.
You would come down. What street was it? I don't remember the
It was
street.
Hickory.
Yes.
Hickory.
Yeah.
You go down there, and there was this dirt road.
Yeah. It took off.
And you turn and you say, where in the world am I going? And there was a bunch of trees and almost, we call it a jungle. Like that Bobby lived in a jungle. We used
But
to tease
they
him.
had lots of parties.
Yeah, and you'd drive and scoop around, and all of a sudden you'd see all this. And right before, you go over a little bridge, I think,
I
too.
think so.
Little bridge, and then you came on this big adobe house out of nowhere. And they loved to have parties. They didn't bother the neighbors. Everybody could.
Bob described his father building that house and his
I
Bob's
don't know
role in
about
it.
that part.
Yes, that was just great.
Well-
Have you talked to him recently?
Yes, we just interviewed him.
Really?
Yes,
How is he doing?
great. You should call him. I
I
have his
should.
number.
Where does he live?
He lives in Fair Oaks.
One of his kids was a teacher at Casa Roble.
That's how I made the connection because I taught at Casa Roble, and I thought
You did.
I heard about Roger and Carol Lever, and I thought, oh, I wonder if they're Rob's
Oh.
ancestors, grandparents, and sure enough,
Yeah.
and so then Rob at the school gave me his dad's number, and that's how we got that interview.
Oh, great.
I know it is. Yeah, he's
Did you meet his wife,
no,
Terry?
no.
Lovely Irish girl.
Yes.
I spoke to her on the phone, but I
Oh,
did
okay.
never meet her. Yeah, that was. He's a wonderful storyteller.
I bet he is. Yes. Well, his parents took the two of us to the bowling alley in Roseville, and I think we might have bowled. I don't know that part. Maybe we did, but I remember we sat down. We had a hamburger and milkshake together, and it was sort of a night out with their family. It was really nice. It's very sweet of him to do that. Yeah.
Hamburger and milkshake. That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, doesn't it? I don't
Yes.
dare eat that these days. I've got too many problems.
Oh. Any other memories you want to share? You have some wonderful memories. Any other memories about Orangevale?
Well, for powwow days, there was a group of people that came and asked me to ride on their float, which was a car, but I think they had a float, and they were wanting to advertise their group. They were a motorcycle group, and they said, "We believe in off-the-street motorcycle. We don't go on the highway." And I said, "I'll do it," because that meant a lot to me, because my dad was killed on a motorcycle
Oh,
on the road,
oh.
Yeah. So they didn't know that, and I never thought to tell them. And so we're waiting in line, ready to go, for the parade, to be in the parade. And I mentioned, they said again that, we believe in safety and we do this and that. And I said, oh, I appreciate that so much because my dad was killed on a motorcycle in Tahoe. And they went,
Hang on, you might have to say the last little bit after Cal Fire goes over.
oh, yeah.
Thank you, Cal Fire.
So,
We appreciate your work. We really
Yes.
do.
so they were surprised, when I told them.
Yeah.
And then they were kind of shocked, and then again said, well, thank you so much for doing this. And I said, well, I believe in what you're doing. And,
Do you remember the name of the group? The
I
motor-
wish I did.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh,
I remember the person who won Miss Orangeville, though,
Who
when
was
I
that?
ran the pageant. Susie Smith.
Susie Smith.
God of that.
Yeah. Oh, and when, I don't know if you remember this, when Sharon and I were talking, when she was heading up the pageant of Miss Bronze, because I did a lot of modeling, plus I had won a contest and also Camellia Queen. So I said, well, bring all your contestants out here, because we had that great big patio. And then we had the great big living room, and my husband taught dance in that living room when he was going to school. And then we had the stairs. You have to practice going downstairs, you know. They make you do that. And then we had the big lawn. So they would come out. Oh, we must have had 15 or 20 girls, black girls,
Mm-hmm.
and heels and bathing suit, and then heels and an evening gown.
Mm-hmm.
And you can imagine going down Greenback Lane. And these beautiful women are walking on the patio and turning and practicing their walk and going down the stairs, walking all over the lawn. They just kept coming out of the house, and it was just an ongoing thing. And you'd get honk, honk, or what's that, you know? So that was fun. And, you know, it was fun that I worked with Sharon on it, you know, because Sharon and I know each other really well. I think you remember from an interview.
Yes.
Our mothers went to high school together.
Yes.
Our grandmothers knew each other.
Yes. It's,
Her parents used to babysit for my kids, so I could go out at night.
Wow. And Jackie, her sister, was a beautiful dancer,
Mhm.
took from Jer. And every time she came for a lesson, and he would choreograph numbers for her because she was performing a lot, they would laugh and have so much fun. I could hear him in the other room. Oh my gosh. I knew Jer was having a lot of fun. And she'd come up with some wild music, you know, and of course she could do anything. She was really very talented. So there's a lot of connection. Oh, and they took me, I met them in L.A.
Who's them?
Sharon and Jackie, and met, well, it was a group of singers that became the Fifth Dimension. And they were saying, oh, well, Julie sings. You know, I said, oh, don't do that. You know, don't tell them I sing. They're a group. You know, I was really very shy. I don't know what I ever got up the nerve to get up and sing, but I wanted to do what my father did. I think that's what it was all about. So I kind of tried to play it down. They said, oh, no, sing. What can you sing? Well, I don't know. I don't know what to sing. Well, sing the Lord's Prayer. Sing the Lord's Prayer. Okay, so I sang the Lord's Prayer. And they backed me. Oh, my God, it was wonderful.
how
And then I sang
exciting.
You'll Never Walk Alone, and they sang behind me and backed me. It was just a thrill, really a thrill.
Wow.
And then every time I saw him on TV, I thought, oh, my gosh, this is fun. So because of Sharon, you know, we just kept in touch all those years when she was in Corvallis. I forget which, you know, it was Bobby Kennedy that died. You know, we'd call and talk to each other on the phone and cry.
Mhm.
And Martin Luther King. We always had this dream, you know. We always thought prejudice was in the South. We didn't think it went on here at all. We were very naive. We lived in Orangeville. You know, we never thought that, you know, the things that have come to happen would happen. So when we had a president, Obama, that blew us away. You know? But it's certainly an ongoing thing, isn't it?
Uh-huh. It is.
An ongoing education.
Yes. Okay. Well, I think that's a wonderful interview. Thank you so much
Oh,
for.
you're welcome. I hope I was helpful.
Oh yes, and thank you, Nancy, for chiming in.
Yes.
Oh,
Well, you know the story about us. We're 9 months apart.
Yes. Yes. So you're.
My
practically
mother went to
twins.
see her, and she had a baby, and my mother said, oh, a baby, I want another baby. And 9 months later, I was born.
There you go.
well.
She's more like a sister,
she's
I
a
have to
sister.
tell
I
you.
I don't have any siblings, so she's it.
Well, she's my sister, too.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.